Singers, here's an interesting question. Should you move your body when you sing or not? Singers, welcome back to the weekly warm-up. I'm Laura, and here on the channel I love to share clear, fun voice education to help you improve your singing and enjoy it more. Now, I think we can all agree as a starting point that we don't want to sing with our bodies super stiff and tight. We've probably all seen someone stand with their knees locked on stage and then pass out. That is not going to be a good choice. But I would also say that it's not always the right move to be moving when we sing. It can be distracting for the audience, and more importantly, there are movements that you might be doing that might actually be detracting from the quality of your singing. So let's talk about helpful and unhelpful body movement in the practice room and on stage. So first, let's start with the good stuff, the helpful movements. In general, I would say that in the practice room, almost every singer I know needs to be moving much, much more. It is very easy to forget that singing is something we do with our physical bodies, and so I want to encourage you to get the whole system involved. And many of the exercises that I teach encourage exactly that. I'm often encouraging you, for example, to use a squat to engage your lower body when you're trying to reach up to a high note or feel your support. I've encouraged you to airplane your arms or windmill your arms to really feel that your air is moving and continuing to move as you sing through a long phrase. Those kinds of movements in practice can really help you to feel the technique, to feel how your body is actually physically making the sound. There are also body movements that you can use to feel the music better, especially in the case of rhythm. It is such a wonderful addition to your practice routine to just walk the rhythm when you are sight reading a new piece. If you've got a piece that's in 4/4, start by walking in a nice 4/4 pattern and then start your sight reading. This will help to inform your body of the meter that is the foundation for that whole piece and to keep you moving through it. There is just nothing like feeling the difference between 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 1, 2. Once you feel it with your body, that rhythm is going to be so much easier to take off of the page and into your voice. So that is body movement in the practice room. It can be enormously helpful. But what about movement on stage? Well, first let's talk about expressive movement. There are movements that maybe the audience might find distracting, and a lot of this just depends on the tradition of the music that you are performing. Even within choral music, there are choral traditions that involve a ton of bodily movement and other choral traditions that kind of expect more of a still posture. While I'm not asking you to go against years of tradition or what your director is telling you, I would like to encourage you to be expressive to the extent that is permissible in the genre of music that you're performing. And especially if you are in a genre of music like folk song, art song, opera, music theater, where it is not kind of going to be messing up everyone else's experience, for you to incorporate some facial expressions, some hand gestures, maybe even some movement. It's part of the natural way that we communicate as humans, and the closer you can bring your performing to just a natural communication of ideas to the listener, the more genuine it will be. If you are having a really, really challenging time not seizing up with tension at a particular point, I'm gonna guess it's your high note, that's usually the main culprit, it can be wonderfully helpful to incorporate a physical motion at that point in the music to help sort of distract the body, but also give all of that physical energy an alternative. I'll give you an example of this. A few years ago, I was working with a wonderful high school student. He was a lovely young baritone who was singing an aria, his first opera aria, about presenting a bouquet of flowers to his love interest. And he was so stressed about the high note at the end. And so when we were preparing it for performance, I asked him, as he moved to the high note, to just hold the bouquet out and go down on one knee. And as soon as he started incorporating that motion, he never missed the high note again. And that was because there was sort of an alternative motion plan in his body. This, instead of tightening up in the throat. I think that's kind of a good summary of the movements that might be helpful. But what about the unhelpful movements? First, there are the ones that are sort of caused by nerves. And I want to encourage you to really be kind with yourself about these. Everyone has them. Everyone has these nervous habits. But before a performance, especially if you are a solo performer, make sure that you use a little video recording. Just use your phone to check. Do you have wiggly knees? Do you have wiggly fingers? Are you tending to kind of rock back and forth? And here is the really important part. Are these things unintentional? There is nothing wrong with moving your body in the beat of the music. That is absolutely natural. It goes with what I was saying before about expression. But if just swaying with no discernible connection to the rhythm and you don't even know you're doing it is happening, then that is a nervous habit. And unfortunately, it is not only distracting to the viewer, but it is also moving a lot of energy that could be helping you to align your singing into kind of random movement patterns. So a lot of times these nervous habits show up in places where we are tense or tight. And so substituting an intentional movement, like the ones I talked about before, actual rhythmic walking, a gesture, some kind of real movement, is going to be infinitely more helpful in dealing with and harnessing that nervous energy than just some kind of unintentional nervous habit. Finally, there are absolutely movements that you are probably doing, I have my own, that are actually tension in disguise. For example, if you saw videos of me singing when I was a student, and I still do it sometimes, every time I would go up to a high note, I would pull my head to the left. Now, there is nothing beneficial about moving your head to the left. And while it's not going to be the worst experience for an audience member to see me moving my head to the left, what it's revealing is that because this pattern is so closely tied into my technical approach to high notes, there is a problem there. There is something that needs to be unlocked, and working on not moving the head to the side is going to help me get to the heart of what is actually going on. Finally, another place where this is extraordinarily common is when singing fast music. So a few weeks ago, I shared a flexibility exercise with you that was like a 5-note scale followed by a 9-note scale. It is really common when singing something with a lot of flexibility that you will start to notice your body kind of randomly moving. It might even feel like you're moving in the rhythm. But if you notice yourself doing that, and again, a great way to notice is just to film yourself and then you'll catch it. All of that energy is not contributing to the actual working of the air, the smooth movement of the air in a nice flow, the moving of the voice through the range. And limiting that movement, not by tightening up, but just by exploring with curiosity, why is it that I'm moving every time I sing this scale? What happens if I put myself up against a surface and without holding myself rigid, just try to limit that movement? Interesting. Now I can notice all the places where I am tight. Whereas with all of that extraneous movement, I didn't even notice it because there was so much physical chaos happening in my body. So my recommendation to you is, in the practice room, move more and move with more intention and more of your body. Larger gestures, more energy. When it comes to performing, investigate your reasons for moving. And if they are unintentional, you don't know why it's happening, it's really worth a closer look, because you will discover things about your technique that are what that extraneous motion is trying to cover. So I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, please let me and let the community know by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel. I will be back next week and every week. And in the meanwhile, thank you for practicing.